So how are you, Nate? Good to see you.
Good. I just set up a run today and I can do a virtual runs on my treadmill, and I set one up for your fair city this morning.
Oh, cool. How
Yeah.
much are you running these days?
I'm going to do LA Marathon in May. So I'm just starting to get,
Cool.
just ramping up a bit right now.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I had it in my head that I was going to do a half Ironman last year, which seemed extreme, but I'm 42, and I know that if I'm going to do it, it's just going to get exponentially harder every single year. So there's no time like the present. And then of course COVID happened and everything fell apart. And I was like, well, hell, I don't have to do that anymore. I'm going to have some cake.
Yeah. I started when I was 50. I was like, I'm going to just, let's half century. Let's go for it.
Man, good on you. So are you're in Los Angeles then? You're not up here in the Northwest?
No longer in Northwest, down in LA.
When I found out I was going to talk to you today, I thought of this book that I read recently. You're from a town that's maybe one of the most documented small cities in America, and I'm sure you know why.
Tri-Cities, you mean?
Yeah. I'm talking about Hanford specifically and Richland.
Yeah, well, maybe it's because you're from the Northwest, but
I
I find that most people don't know the history over there, even though it is fairly fascinating.
Yeah. So anyway, I read a book recently called The Apocalypse Factory that I was going to turn you on to. It's all about, for people watching, Hanford is where the U.S. government made all of the plutonium for the nuclear bombs starting back during World War II. And Richland, where Nate is from, sort of grew up out of the workforce for the plutonium factory in Hanford. And incidentally, it's one of the most polluted parcels of land in all of the world nowadays. So anyway, fascinating read. I know that's a very nerdy way to start a rock and roll interview, but I wanted to bring that up to you.
Yep. Oh yeah. It's a fascinating place with a dark history.
Sure. You make it over there very often these days?
I have no family left there, so no.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So Medicine at Midnight, it's finally here. How long have you guys been waiting to put this out?
On the cusp, about a year. It's been finished for about a year. Yeah.
So we're February 2020. You guys are making plans to put this thing out. At what point do you realize we're going to have to park this for a little while?
We were in the middle of another project that involved working with large groups of people, kind of a filming project thing. And so that was the immediate concern, that thing.
Sure.
Figuring out how to navigate that. We got shut down right in the middle of that. And as soon as the dust cleared from that, I was like, oh yeah, we've got a record that's due to come out in the summer. What are we going to do about that? So found ourselves in the position of, every other musician that was getting ready to release something.
Right.
Juggling dates and prognosticating and
trying to figure, and which was impossible, right? Because everything was a moving target at that point, and continues to be, I assume.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, push back a couple of times, and then you just sort of run up against time. And you don't want to put out a record that's 2 years old. So, 1 year.
Did you guys change anything while you were waiting? Was there anything on the album that you thought, I don't know, made more sense, or was there any song changes or anything as you guys were going through last year with that album sitting on the shelf?
Anybody that's got even a glancing familiarity with our band knows that we're not perfectionists. So there was no movement to go back and fix all the imperfections. I mean, as close as we get to being, perfectionist about anything would be the recordings, but no.
Did you guys spend any time together over the course of last summer, or was everyone kind of just holed up at home? And is that weird? Because I'm sure you guys are used to spending a ton of time together.
We did not. We scattered. Everybody was not in Los Angeles, and there was nothing to do. And so we were just dealing with our home situations. Yeah, and that felt really odd. That was odd because we keep pretty busy even when we're not off the road or doing a recording project. Stuff comes
Sure.
up, right? So we're accustomed to seeing each other, and it didn't happen, and it just felt kind of disconcerting, honestly, just speaking for myself, on top of everything else that was going on, not having my band around to just be like an anchor was a little odd, off-putting.
You have family at home?
Yeah, lots of family.
Yeah. So there's an upside, right? You get to spend lots more time with your family. It's probably been a while since you've been able to spend that kind of quality time with them.
No, that's been great actually. Yeah, definitely.
So I saw you guys on the Sonic Highways tour when you played at the Showbox in Seattle. Was there something going on were you sick that night?
That was one of the worst shows, maybe the worst show of my life.
Why? Because and in my defense, it was a late night and I had a lot to drink. But as I was thinking about talking to you today, I was like, I want to say Nate like sat through that show or like something weird was going on.
Yeah, we're pretty accustomed to just playing through whatever, right?
Sure.
But I had just a brutal bout of stomach flu the day before. And was just able to kind of walk to get on the plane to go up to Seattle. I had a paramedic friend of mine come up and get me a bag of IV, which was almost useless, but
brutal
effort anyways. And then it was probably the apex of the, this time where we were making shows as long as we could.
Yeah. Cause I want to say that was like a 3.5 hour show or something.
Yeah, it was over 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the combination of deathly illness and length of the show is just fucking brutal.
Well, congratulations on making it through it.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah. I'm sorry you had to witness that one.
No, man, it was, it was still a ton of fun. I'm just, unfortunately it was at your expense, that was one of I think I remember at one point looking at my watch, like, oh my God, it's 12:30. Like, I'm not 17 anymore. This is amazing. I know. First history books, and now 12:30 is late.
Yeah, these are the situations you get yourself in when your band leader will play a show with a broken leg. It's like a stomach flu.
Right.
Yeah.
Suck it up, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing at a place like the Showbox, having come up through the ranks in the Northwest music, is playing a place like that, is that still special? Is that cool? I know you've played in, Wembley and all of that stuff, but to go and play on a stage like the Showbox in Seattle with the history there, and does that strike a chord with you?
Yeah, because I've played there with different bands. I've seen a lot of great bands there, and it feels like, I'm like a hometown show, like I'm in my environment.
Sure.
Which is nice.
How important are those clubs? And, they are suffering severely right now. How important are those places for bands coming up and, for the culture of a city?
No offense to the question, but how important are legs?
It's kind of hard to get by without them.
You can, right. People do quite well, but if you had your choice, you'd probably choose to have the legs. Yeah, I think I don't know, I don't have any special insight in this, of course. That's where the bulk of music is witnessed and performed. And how do you survive a year plus with absolutely no income and rent to pay and overhead and salaries, and then come back and provide that service? I have no idea. I know there's been some legislative help. We've done a couple of benefits to help out. I just hope that they're able to hang on, because I can't imagine a world where they're gone, or you have to start from scratch,
right? And
build that whole ecosystem up again. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, right?
Let's go back a little bit. Do you remember the first time you heard the first Foo Fighters record and what your impression was?
Not the first time, but nearly. The story's been pretty well told now, how that tape, which became the first record. It was just a series, I guess demo recordings really at that point, was floating around Seattle, and I got a copy, and I thought it was great. I was coming just out of Sunny Day Real Estate at the time. So, I heard that music, and Sunny Day was like a little relatively proggy compared to the early Foo Fighter stuff. There's a simplicity to it. And so I was like, oh, I'd love to be in this band so I could put, crazy bass on this. That was going to be your contribution to All Stick Around. It's a crazy bass line. Yeah. And then, I eventually got into the band. I'm like, oh no, the bass is pretty good the way it is. It turns out, I bent to the band more than the band bending to me.
Is there a point, do you think, was there a risk that this band took somewhere along the line that you think helped propel them to the level of success you guys have now? Are you risk takers?
Yeah, I think I've never been asked that question, so I haven't put a lot of thought into it. But in terms of risk, I don't know. I mean, there's an authenticity to what we do that could have not worked. We could have, we just kind of are who we are. We get up there in jeans and t-shirts and not a lot of artifice and do what we do. That could have at any point in time been like, okay, we need more explosions and velvet and satin, or
leopard print,
right?
Dude. Right.
Yeah. And then, also just the willingness to be silly as a rock band, just off the top of my head, like that was something that might not have turned out. I mean, that's not like the greatest artistic gamble in the history of music, but it's part of our identity, and it might have fallen flat for us. Yeah.
Do you think that authenticity, could you attribute some of that to your guys' everyone's punk rock roots?
Yes.
So that willingness just to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
That desire to do what you want to do.
Yeah, I would be cautious about placing too much on that, because there's a looseness to rock and roll in general.
Sure.
I think the sort of punk ethos is not that different than like, say, what the environment that Queen was coming up in terms of like creativity and wanting to like be authentic to yourself. There's again, there's just more satin.
Right. Something you're most proud of over the years?
Most proud of. Yeah, good question, sir. I mean, there's all kinds of like go-to answers. I'm just trying to think of something that I'm trying to really actually answer that question. I don't know. I mean, I just off the top of my head, I could point to the fact that we're the same people.
That's great. Yeah.
I think, I mean, we've grown, and we've learned, and we've got better at what we do, obviously. But, I could look at somebody like Pat Smear, not appreciably different in terms of how he navigates the world than he was when I first met him, and the band has had a lot of success, and there were all kinds of opportunities to fall off the rails and at various points along the way. And I think we've done a good job of staying true to ourselves.
Are you guys all still good friends?
Yeah. But it's a managed friendship, and this is true for, I'm sure, most bands. We're very close when we're together and we're working, and when we're not doing barbecues together or taking our kids to the park.
Like family, I imagine.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a lot of ways. Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, it's just like Thanksgiving 2/3 of the time.
So this is, I think, the fourth album in about 10 years with the current lineup. Does that stability, or that sense of stability, does that help in the creative process? I mean,
well, yeah, I think so to a point, but we've got a band culture now that I think that if there were stability in terms of a lineup, I think that sort of the operating agreement would grant the stability. Mm-hmm. In terms of just like we know how this band works, and so that grants us a lot of stability.
All right, two more questions. One, favorite song on the new album?
Oh, Cloud Spotter.
Cloud Spotter. All right. Yeah. All right. Everybody can check that out on Friday. And then any sense on when you guys might be able to start doing some shows? I mean, I know it's a moving target. We talked about that a little bit, but what are people telling you?
That's a tough one to answer because we have shows scheduled right now. So I can just look at the calendar and I'm
those ones.
Those ones, hope to see Europe in the summer,
Right.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Well, I hope so too. I'd love to see you guys. Always one of my favorite shows. I told Dave this last time I talked to you guys. Still to this day, the best show I've ever been to was a Foo Fighters show in Milwaukee during Summerfest in it must have been 2000. And it was during one of the most amazing thunderstorms I've ever been in my life. And everyone partied in wet jeans and it was awesome. So thank you for that. I'll always remember that night.
Oh yeah.
Well, thanks, Nate. Dude, it's always good to catch up. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you in person sometime soon. All right.
Yeah. Nice talking to you.
On the new album.
Thanks so much. Take care of yourself.
Nate. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications from radio.com. While you're at it, why don't you check out some of our other great videos.